I'm Eleonore, I'm 23 years old. I'm originally from Paris in France, and I currently live in Nottingham, where I moved from France to do my studies when I was 18, and I'm now an academic and dance artist. So my research is in general discipline of psychology, and I look specifically at decision making. And I'm generally interested in why we might make different decisions for other people than we would for ourselves, and what that implies, both for the decisions that we make for ourselves and the decisions that we make for others. So the project Fiona that I've been working on with Marley touches on some of the issues relating to social work, which can be framed in terms of surrogate decision making, which links quite nicely to the work that I do. And when we started working on it, my first academic paper came out, which sort of nicely puts together the key concepts that we've been working with in the project Fiona. The first one is the concept of psychological distance, which just basically encapsulates the distance between you and an object of thought. So it just looks at what happens when you think about something that's close to you. So for example, your family, compared to when you think about something that's very far away. So a human that you don't know on the other side of the planet, for example. And the idea is that you think about something that's far away from you in more abstract terms than when you think about something that's close to you. So in terms of surrogate decision making, what that means is that you might, when you're making a decision for you, you might think about the more immediate aspect of the decision. So how you'll feel when you make the decision, what will happen at that point in time, what are your sort of short-term needs. Whereas when you're thinking about someone else, you might place the decision in a wider context and think, how is that going to affect them in, however many years' time, and look at it in that way and not worry too much about their subjective experience of the decision or of the outcome of the decision. So that's the first concept. And the second is the idea of an empathy gap. So that empathy gaps exist between you and what you think about and the people around you. So the idea is that, again, the more distant something is from you, the less empathy you'll have for it. So the bigger the empathy gap. So again, in terms of surrogate decision making, if you're making a decision for someone that you don't know, you might not feel that empathy. The gap will be quite large. But when you make a decision for yourself and for a very close family member, that empathy gap will be much shorter and you'll be much more emotionally involved in the decision, which might affect the way that you make decisions, which is what I'm interested in. And in terms of social work, how that ties in and how we've been working with it is that so a social worker might be more or less involved with the people that he or she is working with, and that might impact the decisions that they make. So the closer they get to the recipient, the person that they're making decisions for, the more their judgments might incorporate a more perhaps empathic approach, and that may affect their decision making, which might be good or bad. We don't know, and it's not really our call to make as psychological researchers, but we're just trying to uncover what it is that they do and why, essentially.